हरिकथा सम्बोधना बोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरः पैपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वैदैः साङ्गपदः क्रमोपनिषदै गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः।
ॐ नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्ययसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Verse number 14, chapter 2. मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदाः मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदाः आगमापायिनो नित्याः तान् स्थितिक्षस्व भारत आगमापायिनो नित्याः तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत. Now the big thing has been dealt with. What was the big thing? Namely, the question of death has been dealt with. That one need not be afraid of death, or rather, one need not grieve over death. Why? Because it is happening to the body, and the I is beyond death. It is not subject to death. This much was talked about. This much was told to us. And so, therefore, grieving over that which must not be grieved is the sign of an ignorant person. And why is it a sign of an ignorant person? Because there is a confusion between the I and the not I. When the not I is taken to be the I, then confusion ensues. What is not I? Body is not I. And the body is subject to perish and subject to birth, subject to death, and all the other modifications in between. And so, whenever there is an identification with the body, there is sorrow ensuing from the fact that the body is deteriorating. So the body is deteriorating means what? I am deteriorating, and so therefore there is the sadness. And of course, the body doesn't come by itself; it is connected to the mind. And I've always said the only thing you can say for certain about the mind is never mind. That's all you can say, nothing more. And so when the mind goes, there is even more panic. I forgot where I put my keys. Oh. Maybe I'm having early onset, what is that called? Alzheimer's disease. OMG. What should I do? I think I should play that number game. Sudoku, I should play because somebody said that's what I have to do. And it staves off mental decline. And if you give yourself so much anxiety, there will be more decline because there is it's not the question of decline, there is no focus. Yeah, unable to focus. And so, like this, there is a, the um, body, mind, senses. And then there is a lot of performance anxiety around this. And people like to pretend something that is not the case with the body. And we find this even among the elderly. They're trying to get up from a chair, and you can see that they're struggling. You offer them a hand. They say, no, I'm stronger than you. I'm better than you. Wait and watch till I get up. As though there is some competition. And then, and then we see this all the time. We see this we see this among the people in the world. And we see this with regard to the body, with regard to the mind, as though there is something to prove. And that means there is confusion. So therefore it was said that bodies are many, deha drishtya bahuvachanam. So the plural of, oh Arjuna, you will also be there all the time, I will also be there all the time, he, she, it will be there all the time, all these kings and all their accoutrements and their armies will also be there all the time. This is why it was said. And this is only from the standpoint of the body mind sense complex. And somebody was asking this. The body mind sense complex means Sukshma Sharira is already there. Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira together makes the body mind sense complex. It's not that the Sukshma Sharira is floating somewhere else, it's all a package deal. Because there is Karana, which is the ignorance, the body is born, and the body doesn't come by itself, it comes along with the mind. When you're talking about the mind and the sense organs, then it is subtle body, it's already there. It's a package deal. And so therefore what? So therefore this is something which is very important to understand and learn, that this body, mind, senses, etc., are not intrinsic to the I. A fact that will be made, that will be repeated for the next maybe 600 verses or so. Okay, yeah, in the rest of the Bhagavad Gita. Because this is Atmajnanam, that having that asangatvam, that separateness, that uninvolvedness from the body mind sense complex is jnanam, is what people call enlightenment, quote unquote, is what is to be done, is what is to be recognized. This is what it is. This is the deal. And so, therefore, I mean, one hears it, and then next week one says, oh, looks like I'm hearing it for the first time. And the week after that, oh, ये कुछ सुना सुना सा लगता है, it's something I've heard somewhere before, it looks familiar. and and so therefore this is something which has to be, because the orientation is so strong. Lord Krishna's job is very difficult. Lord Krishna has to work extra hard to make this knowledge sit in the heart. And Adi Shankara, writing the Bhashya, has to work extra hard. And Pujya Swamiji, decoding and unfolding Adi Shankara's Bhashya, has had to work extra hard. And so therefore this is something which is so beautiful to at least conceptually understand. and tell oneself first thing in the morning, hey, I am not the body. That's what. There are so many positive affirmations that people talk about. One is advised to give oneself a hug. ठीक है वो भी कर लो, no problem, do that also, not an issue, okay. And then one is also advised, this I this a young girl told me that one of her teachers said that when she stands in front of the mirror every morning, she's supposed to greet herself by saying, hey, good looking. Okay, all right, that is this is also very nice. Some kind of positive affirmation, because young girls, growing girls in teenage may have some body issues and, feeling like they are not fitting in and there is so much peer pressure. This is all okay. But then, if you want a, people keep asking for homework. Vedanta homework, give me sadhana all the time, And so, if you want sadhana, first thing to get up, as soon as you wake up in the morning, just say, this body, you know, this body, I happen to be living in this body, but then I am life without boundaries. I am sentience incarnate. I am sentience without boundaries. I'm that Atma that blesses all the things in the world, animate and inanimate, with that satta, with that existence, with that spurti, with that sentience. I'm that which is not subject to any kind of modifications, afflictions, change, etc. So, right at the beginning, you have holiday homework. Okay, yeah, holiday season homework. Okay, yeah, and so this is something. This was what was constituted the first the 13, not the 13, from verse 10 to 13. This is what is brought home in the second chapter. Then we have dispensed with the big thing and death. But then, nobody leads life anticipating death every day, correct? You just lead your life. You wake up, you find out what day of the week it is, and then you have to then plan your day, and then you go about your day. And it's not the sometimes the big things only afflict one once in a while, like death. Usually, during the course of the day, it is the small, small things that bring one down as one is getting ready to go out to the office, to go out the door, to go out to work. Then comes the decision. What is the decision? What to wear? Oh, yeah, winter is coming. Oh, no, why is it so cold? Why is it so cold, so cold? Lockdown days were nice, the good old days when one could just sit and, all you need to do is be dressed up till here. That's all. You know, and beneath this, you don't have to wear anything at all if you didn't feel like it. And all you need to do is up till here. Okay. And we've seen so many kind of, all these videos that have gone viral. Zoom fails, and the fellow sitting with a nice shirt and tie and a coat and then wearing shorts. That this is we've seen all these things. And something happened, the camera tipped over, and then we have seen all these things. So those were the good old days, the lockdown days. You could do whatever you want, you could wear or not wear, and nobody cared. But now you have to dress according to the weather. And then that is, that's why it's called weather, because you don't know whether it's going to be cold or whether it is not. And so therefore you don't know what to do, you don't know how to do this. And then with climate change, there is always a sense of surprise, even in the middle of winter. And then there is, suddenly a day when it is, when it is like spring. And then so therefore this these kinds of things, get one. These are all what contribute to one's mood, either good or bad. Somebody said something. Up till then, I was fine. People tell me this all the time. That person came and said something, and then I got anxious. No, no, no. It's only the anxious that get anxious. The anxiety was already there, latent. And it was brought to the fore by what somebody said. And as we have said many times, the Bhagavad Gita, the study of the Bhagavad Gita is for one who has stopped blaming the world. Because of you, I couldn't do this. Because of you, I'm in a bad mood. Because of you, I cannot get on with my life. Because of you, I can't do what I want to do. This is one level of responding to life. I won't even say responding, reacting to life. It's a sad orientation, it's a habitual orientation. And then what? Then, when you fine tune that, then one starts blaming oneself. Oh, it's because of me. I'm an idiot. I'm no good. Why was I born? And why am I alive? And nobody loves me. And I can't do anything correct. I can't do anything right. I'm all wrong. I'm an idiot. Both are two sides of the same coin. And so, therefore, these two things, spirituality begins, Shravanam begins, Bhagavad Gita begins and starts to come home when one stops blaming the rest of the world for one's decisions, one's predicament, one's lot in life, and when, most importantly, stops blaming oneself. No self blame, and then no blaming others as well. Then, then we can say we are students of the Bhagavad Gita. And so therefore there are all these things in life that is that's what has made some people call life by the name of roller coaster. Morning okay, afternoon grumpy, evening cranky. Morning cranky, evening grumpy, and then afternoon angry, night stressed. That's why no sleep. So this is how, one minute happy, another minute worried, 1 minute sad, another minute anxious. This is how the life goes. So we've taken care of this big thing called death. But then the Gita buffs means Gita students who are very interested in the Gita, but then they say, I want Gita in day to day life. I want Bhagavad Gita in day to day life. Okay, day to day life, ठीक है. So then that is why verse number 14 is there. This is the operation, how to put Bhagavad Gita into day to day life operation is given in verse number 14. With this introduction, let us look at what the verse says. Matra sparshaha. You know, there are two words here, matra and then sparshaha. What is matra? Well, we know, like, matra in terms of rhythm and tala, matra. No, no, no. It's not that matra. It's a technical word. Miyante abhihi iti matraha. Miyante means is measured. Miyante. Miyante means is measured by these. First of all, what is measured and by what? That is what has to be ascertained. Abhihi miyante. By these are measured. What are measured? Shabdadayah. Shabdadayah means the sound. Shabda is sound. Adi padat. Adi means etc. So etc. means other sensory perceptions, other sensory objects. Shabda, sparsha, rasa, Rupa, Gandha, all the five sense organs. Touch, taste, smell, sight, sound. Only sound is mentioned, so the other four you're supposed to bring in. मीयन्ते आभिः शब्दादयः इति श्रोत्रादीनि इन्द्रियाणि. And so therefore what sound and all these things are measured. And so therefore what is matra? Sense organs are called matraha. Sense organs. Then sparshaha. Shabdadibhihi sanyogaha tesham. Sanyogaha means the connection. Sanyoga means union. So the union of the ear with the sound here is called Sanyoga. Because these five means of knowledge are there, sensory, perceptions, and then each sensory perception has the capacity to cognize something and then has the appropriate objects for them. So ears are not wasted because there are sounds to be cognized, all kinds of ragas, melodies, everything to be cognized. Eyes are not wasted because the whole jagat of the Lord is full of color, is full of forms, shapes. Eyes, ears, nose is not wasted. Why? Because there are pakodas frying in the neighbor's house. And so, and then the delicious, wonderful fragrance is wafting to your house for free. Wonderful. And then and then what, then you can go and invite yourself there. You can pretend to go to see if they are hearing some noises or something, and hope that you will also be invited. And so then what, so then like this: eyes, ears, sense of taste. The tongue is 3 inches long, and then after you swallow whatever you have eaten, you may as well be on a feeding tube because you don't taste anything. It's only these 3 inches that all the tastes are there. And for these 3 inches, they are very powerful 3 inch, tongue, jihva. And because of this, we have the whole restaurant industry in the entire world hinging on these 3 inches. This small avayava, this small limb of 3 inches is controlling the whole cuisines of the world. Vietnamese and Mexican and Italian, and you can't just say Indian because that's a disservice. You have North Indian, South Indian, Maharashtrian, Bengali, all kinds of subtle differences between the tastes, and everything is controlled by these 3 inch long avayava limb. Amazing. So then we have taste, then we have the sense of touch, and that pervades through the whole body, this sense of touch. The sense of touch has a very important function of giving some boundaries between me and the other. And that's how babies also, they whatever they see, they put it in the mouth. They think it's all me, and then and then they slowly learns. Okay, that thing, the last thing that I put in the mouth, did not taste very good. I have to rethink this strategy, slowly. So we have matraha. Matraha means what? We have sense organs, and sparshaha means those that sparshaha, from sprish, to contact, to touch, metaphorically, to contact. So, so matraha, sense organs, and then sparshaha, sensory objects, objects of the senses. And then what do they do? Shita, Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkadaha. Shitam, Ushnam, Sukham, Dukkham cha prayachanti iti Shitoshna Sukha Dukkadaha. So what does the contact of the sense organs with the sense object do? Very interesting. They produce. Da. whenever anything ends in da, dadati. So they give. What do they give? So dadati iti, dadati iti, daha. So daha means, the giver. So they are the givers, they are the producers. Daha, plural. They are, because there are many things mentioned. They are the producers of what? When we look at this list, Shita, cold, Ushna, heat, Sukha, happiness, Dukha, sorrow, misery. So when we just take a cursory look at this, then what does this signify? In short, what are they? They are pairs of opposites. Sukha and Dukha are opposite. Heat and cold are opposite. So therefore, what? So the contact of the sense organs with the sense objects produce opposites, produce several pairs of opposites. Very interesting. Okay. So this is again having a little step back from identifying with the heat and the cold by saying, I am cold. You are not cold. Atma is not cold. Atma is not hot. Atma simply is. Atma is not, does not need, you don't need to knit a sweater for the Atma. Absolutely not. And so neither does Atma need AC. No. So then what is cold? Oh, that is easy. The body is cold. It's not enough to say the body is cold, because now we are bringing in the Sukshma Shariram. We are bringing in also the subtle body. Why? Because the next question to ask ourselves is that how do I know that there is the body is cold? The answer to that is sensory perception. I see, I feel. Why? Because of the sense of touch. I feel it. I feel that the hands are cold, the feet are cold, the nose is cold, the ears are cold, therefore it is cold. And so, what are these sense perceptions? Sense perceptions, again, very objectively looking at sense perceptions are not some kind of a series of things out to get you, but series of situations starting with the weather out to get you. No, therefore, they must not be taken personally. Sense perceptions are merely the samyoga, the contact of the sense objects with the sense organs. Such a lovely way of looking at heat and cold. So, instead of saying, oh, the world is out to get me, and therefore winter is coming, or therefore the rainy season is coming, therefore the summer is coming, instead of saying that, just say, oh, this is an interesting situation, and I'm having an unpleasant situation. You can even go so far as to cognize it as unpleasant. It's okay. It still does not take away from the objectivity. I'm having an unpleasant situation. And what is the unpleasant situation? The teeth are making a clicking noise repeatedly, chattering noise. Not very pleasant. Okay. And there is a little kampanam. Kampanam means little bit of quivering in the body. So these are all unpleasant situations. And so then the unpleasant situations are created by the sense organs, here the sense of touch, contacting the sense objects. Objects here is the weather. And then, this looks very philosophical. This is, you say, so what? I mean, how can I spend the winter like this, with the teeth chattering and with quivering, with the lips all blue? That's not the point. Of course, when there is an unpleasant situation, what do? You take out a sweater, you take out a blanket, you wrap yourself in the shawl, whatever it is. And then you say, ha, wonderful, now I can bear it, no problem. But then there are certain situations in life where you cannot you cannot change that. It's not, certain situations in life are not as easy as opening a cupboard, taking out a sweater and wearing it, and then end of story, fine. Or turning on the what is that, fireplace, starting a fire, turning on the heater, sitting on the radiator vent so that quickly you are warmed up. The certain situations are not so easy. Okay, some situations are not within our control, and that is what is being talked about here. And one time, I was doing some research, and I was in some village in the hills in India, and I was staying with a family there. And then they had some small farm animals, dogs, cats, chickens, goats, all these things were there. And then everybody slept together in the courtyard. And then it was not a family of means. And so I had a bed sheet with me that I had carried. So I wrapped myself in that, but clearly it wasn't enough. And so the hostess, who was very kind to me, said, "Oh, I have a spare bed sheet, a slightly thick one. You please wear this. You please wrap yourself in this, otherwise, you won't be able to sleep." I was very grateful. It made a big difference. And as soon as fell asleep, as I was falling asleep, somebody was yanking it from the bottom. And then I said, "What is this?" And then I put it all again on myself. And then somebody was yanking it again from the bottom. And then I said, "Okay, what is happening? Maybe somebody else needs this bed sheet." And so I should just let them have it. So as I was, deciding to do that, and I was still kind of half asleep, I heard this coughing sound, and I said, "Okay, this doesn't sound right. Somebody is choking. What is this?" So I looked right. It was a moonlit night, so I could see one of the baby goats. Goats eat everything. Okay, so one of the baby goats had put almost the entire bed sheet in its throat. So I woke the people up because I did not know how to do baby goat CPR. And so then slowly one of the people held, they were unfazed by this, because many times it must have happened. So one of them held the baby goat and held it still on the side, and the other one slowly took out yards of yards of bed sheet from its throat, and everything was happy ever after. But then that bed sheet could not be used because it had the it had baby goat's lunch, okay, smeared on one side. And so therefore, I had to sleep like that. A very difficult night. But then what do? You can't change the situation. You can't change the situation. This is how it is for now. We are not talking of the situations that can be changed. We are talking of situations that one confronts that cannot be changed. So sleep I could not. So I walked around warming myself. I just rubbed my hands and feet and everything, and somehow the night, of course, everything comes to an end. So the night also came to an end. Very difficult it was, almost unbearable, but that is the point here. The point is that the life, no matter how much you prepare for it, no matter how much you strive, no matter how much you do whatever you need to do, no matter how much, in other words, you take care of known variables, like, okay, I'm traveling to this place. I don't know what kind of economic circumstances the families with which I have to stay will be. So I'll carry my own things. All that much you can plan. But beyond that, you cannot plan. A sudden cold front, a sudden, goat wanting some entertainment at night. You can't plan for all these things. And best to be able to see this with a sense of humor. When this sense of humor is there, then everything becomes bearable. And when this sense of humor is there, rest assured that you know that you're not taking the situation too seriously. And when you're not taking the situation too seriously, it is easy to observe this. So, and then how is it made easier to observe? It's made easier to observe by looking at this purely as the sense organs contacting the sense objects. They produce heat and cold, sweltering heat of the summer. That's why there is air cooler, air conditioner, all these things. But then what? Karma is stronger than the air conditioner. That's why it broke. Okay, yeah. That's why it's not accidental. Karma is stronger than the air conditioner or the heater, and that's why it broke. And then when there is no AC, then what? Then the old-fashioned AC kicks in. The sweating mechanism of the body kicks in. And that's why in the olden days there were handheld fans. It was a natural AC. You're sweating, and then on this watery face, you are, fanning yourself, and it's a natural AC already. Rich people had somebody do that for them, kings, etc. The rest of us, we have to do it for ourselves. And so this is at the level of the body. This is at the level of the sense organs. This is at the level of the sense objects. This is purely at the Jagat level. But dot dot dot. But when you internalize this situation, and what do you mean? What do I mean by saying when you internalize this situation? When this situation translates into dukkha, then the wrong identification, my friends, we can say is complete. Dukkha. It is, just because you have to spend a cold night, there is no need to cry buckets over it. In fact, crying will make you feel colder. Yeah. So therefore, there is some kind of a wrong connection, a wrong wiring that is habitual because of Atma Ajnanam, because of self ignorance. This wrong identification, a wrong wiring translates unbearable situations, or close to unbearable situations, as sorrow. This is what it is. And so therefore the the uh, the premise here is to cut that wrong cord between something that is merely a response to a sense perception, purely on the physical level or even on the mental level, but then one need not identify with it. That's why we have to stop saying, I am cold, I am hot. Oh, this is part two of the homework? Yes, this is part two of the homework. So then what should I say? It is cold. It is hot. It's even, that is safe to say. Or you can even say, I am feeling cold, because then you have brought in that matra and sparsha together. I am feeling this right now. I'm feeling hot. I'm feeling cold. You can say that. Between you and the feeling, there is always space. So you can say that much. But then if we start saying, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm sad, I'm happy, then this is a recipe for the greatest of disasters. This is a recipe for disaster. And then what happens? Then the everything starts to look suspicious. Everything starts to look against oneself. And Bhagavad Gita also starts to look suspicious. Oh, it's programming me. It's programming me to have certain ways of looking at the world. I don't like being programmed. Buddhu. That's all I have to say. Buddhu is opposite of buddhi. Okay, yeah. So the Buddhu is the one who is not using the buddhi. Can't say, can't say doesn't have buddhi because God has given buddhi. But the one who is not using the buddhi says that Gita is brainwashing me and programming me. Array, it is deprogramming you. It is deprogramming you from wrong identifications. This is what has to be understood. And so, therefore, the perceptions are fleeting. Hot, 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 hot. Ooh, now the AC is, because the person was hot, the person kept on pressing the down arrow on the AC until it became 16 degrees, centigrade. And then what? Oh, cold, 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 cold. Hot, 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 hot. Okay, I'm too close to the fireplace. Now cold, 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 cold. Now hot, now cold. See, these are fleeting. These are fleeting. And again, we are not talking of things that you can change. We are talking of things that those are the hidden variables. Hidden variables is a sophisticated name for karma. Okay, yeah. Otherwise all the time to say karma, karma. Let's put it in an English, and let's put it in a sophisticated English. Hidden variables over which you have of which you have no knowledge, over which you have no control whatsoever. See, now that sounds so much better. Hidden variables. This is a variable. Karma is the greatest variable. You don't know what is going to come. You don't know how the day is going to unfold. As Pujya Swamiji used to always say, the person was having a good day and said, "Yay!" to celebrate, and immediately had a catch on the side just because of saying "yay" too quickly, too hard. Okay, and so, and then the rest of the day went in putting iodex. Iodex is some kind of a pain balm, and putting some pain balm, and then putting some kind of a some kind of a fomentation, etc. And then of course the rest of the day went in the contemplation. Oh, that person must be having a lot of what is that, lot of titiksha to be able to contemplate. No, their contemplation was just a two-word contemplation. What was that? Why me? Why me? This is this is what the Bhagavad Gita is deprogramming from. These are all fleeting. The variable situations are fleeting. No, they are not fleeting. Why? Because I have been unemployed for 3 years. Well, 3 years from the standpoint of this universe, which is 14 billion years old, is fleeting. Think about it. Think about the Big Bang. Think about the cosmos. Think about all the young stars. Think about think about what you see at the end of the telescope has already happened. So, and then you're seeing it now because the light takes so much time to reach the eyes. And then think about all these things. So even with the naked eyes, forget telescope, when you see a falling star, it has fallen long ago. And you're lamenting right now. Or, in some cultures, the falling star is seen as a, what is that called? Bad omen. Why? Because stars are supposed to be in the sky. They're not supposed to fall. And in some other cultures, falling star means you quickly wish upon it, and the wish will come true. So regardless, the star is not falling right now. You're seeing it right now. Everything is fleeting. Even if it's a whole lifetime, it's still fleeting from the standpoint of you as a jiva taking on many, 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 many bodies, dog, cat, horse, in between human being, and then again dog. Why? Because as a human being, the person was very possessive and territorial, traits associated with the dog. And so this is exactly what the thing is. These are all fleeting. And the more we are able to observe Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukha, etc., the more one is able to understand their fleeting nature, the more one is able to understand it. It's a question of practice. Why? This is why it's practical Vedanta here. It is Vedanta on the level of the day to day. You help yourself with getting into the place of the Sakshi. Sakshi means who? Sakshi is the observer. You help yourself. And when you say, okay, this is too hot, too hot, too hot, yeah, there's nothing I can do right now. I'm hot, I'm hot, I'm hot, I'm hot, I'm hot. Okay. There's nothing to do. Take some deep breaths or fan yourself or do whatever there is possible. But there is nothing more to do except to observe. When you observe, when you are in the place of Sakshi, you are on the diving board of transcending that feeling or transcending identification with that feeling. And this, you know, so basically heat and cold and situations of opposites like heat and cold, other situations which are the product of sense organs, and the contact of the sense organs with the sense objects, there are so many there, so many situations are there. Do not, O Arjuna, this is the advice of Bhagavan, do not translate them into dukkha. This is the thing. When the emotions are involved, it's no longer a matter of the weather, because it's, I have taken it personally. And when you take it personally, you're blaming the world and you're blaming yourself simultaneously. Very sad situation. Was therefore these verses of the Bhagavad Gita, and there'll be plenty such verses in the second chapter itself and in the other chapters also. These verses help us to extricate ourselves from these situations and to be better sakshis, better observers of what is happening. And so matra sparshaha tu kaunteya, kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha. And then what? Agamapayinah. Agamapayin. Very nice word, you know. Agamapayin means that which comes and that which goes. Okay. That which comes and goes is called Agamapayinah. I have lost this bhashya of this verse. Give me 1 second. I just touched something and it scrolled forward, so now I'm coming back to this. Agamapayinah nityaha. Nityaha means always. They are fleeting. They come and go. When? All the time they come and go. Tan titikshasva. What is your, you know, what is your problem here? Your problem is that you are not able to observe them. Titiksha here is, is to be able to be an observer. Titikshasva. It's a order by Bhagavan. You must observe them. You must observe them. Because anitya rupam tesham. For them, they are all just, they are vyabhicharanti. They keep going here and there. They keep changing. Take cold, for instance. 1 minute it is pleasant. In summer, cold is very pleasant. And in winter, it is unpleasant. That's why heat and cold are mentioned separately. And then, but then, Sukha, Dukkha, they behave alike. They are always, Sukha is always pleasant, and then Dukkha is unpleasant. So, Agamapaya Shilaha, Agamapayin, it's a particular suffix which gives the sense of capacity. Nini. So then that's why Agamapaya Shilaha, because meanings they are transitory, they have a beginning and they are an end, and that is their capacity, that much only is their capacity. That is what they are able to produce. Anityaha they are all what are they? Temporary, fleeting. And how do you know that they are fleeting? Simply because the Sakshi is unfleeting. Who is Sakshi? Somewhere I've heard this word, but who is this Sakshi? You. You is, you is, yeah, it's here you can say you is the Sakshi because there's only one Sakshi. You is the Sakshi, and you as the Sakshi are able to see that they are fleeting. Because when you say, oh, cold is coming, cold is coming, cold has come, you are the Sakshi. Cold is going. Before I needed Panchakosha, 5 sweaters, and now I need only one. And so that means what? That means cold is going. Who is the one who's saying this? You as the observer, you as the witness. The Sakshi is what is saying this. And so the Sakshi here, Arjuna, is told to get into the seat of the Sakshi. Like a sports commentator, they also get excited. Oh, I think there's a goal, I think there's a goal, but then they immediately get back their objectivity. Okay, not there, okay, didn't make it. And this is the best way. So even though titikshasva, the word, titiksha, mm, is there. Titiksha means even though it's in the desiderative form, it's not like the desire to have forbearance. That is not what it is here. Certain words take that desiderative pratyaya even otherwise, and so this tij dhatu from which titiksha has come is one of them. And so titikshasva, it's actually a verb here, and it's not some kind of a like jigyasa mumuksha. It's not a desiderative noun. It's a verb. Titikshasva, meaning learn to bear with it. And how to learn to bear with it? Know that even though it seems unbearable, it is not you. You are not being affected. You are as the observer of the heat, of the cold, of the sorrow, of the misery, etc. You are safe because that which is fleeting is that what you observe, and that which is permanent is you. That they have agamapaya shilatvam. How do you know? How do you know that they have that capacity? How do you know that they retain that capacity to come and go? How do you know that they are fleeting? Because you are here forever. You are here. You are the one that is not affected. You are here for ever. So therefore, it is you have no other option except to observe them, except to bear with them. Titikshasva. And even though it's a lot means it's an imperative mood here. Imperative mood means you must do this. It's an order by Lord Krishna. You have to be the observer. It's You can take it as advice, but that would be doing it disservice, doing this word titikshasva disservice. Why? because it is not so much as an advice as much as there is no other option. This is how it is. It's an objective statement of fact that here there is no other option open to you. You have come to me because all along you have opted for that which was not even an option. And what was that? Identifying with every silly little thing that came and went, and then thinking yourself to be happy, and then that thing that caused happiness was fleeting, so it went, and then it brought in its wake sorrow. Thinking yourself to be sad, you mourned something, and then thinking yourself to be cold and hot, you thought you were being targeted. You thought you were doing this. But that is not the case. You have come to me because you have engaged in the wrong options all these years, O Arjuna. You have been engaging in the wrong option. And it's in fact it's a option, less option to do titiksha. The correct way to go about it, to extricate yourself from this, is to get into the place of the observer. Titikshasva, prasahasva, sahasva. Learn to bear with it because it cannot be warded off right now. And then, and then Adi Shankara says, Teshu harsham vishadancha, harsham vishadam va ma karshihi. Don't let this, the external situations, which are merely stimulus of sense perceptions and sensory organs, and sense perceptions and sense objects, merely the contact of the sense perceptions and the sense objects give certain things. Don't make that into a big deal. Don't let them take you to having some kind of a sensory delight, which is again fleeting, and then or having some kind of a sensory uncomfort, discomfort, which is again fleeting. In other words, don't let them translate into sorrow or happiness. Because here is where the mistaken identification is made. And that mistake is removed by titiksha. Titiksha is a very important qualification for Vedanta, for the study of Vedanta. This is something right next to Shraddha, very, very important to cultivate. What is Titiksha? There is a definition of it in the Viveka Chudamani. It says the ability to bear with opposites such as heat, cold, etc., without complaining and wailing loudly. I'm hot, I'm thirsty, I'm cold, I'm this, I'm that, or without imploding from within. No anxiety from no anxiety from within, and then no pain and no expression of this loud complaining from without either. This is titiksha. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam. सहनं सर्वदुःखानाम् अप्रतीकारपूर्वकं चिन्ताविलापरहितं सा तितिक्षा निगद्यते. She is known as Titiksha. What is Titiksha? Sahanam sarva dukkhanam, the ability to bear up with uncomfortable and painful situations. Apratikara purvakam, without always retaliating against them. And without chinta. Chinta means imploding from within, worry, anxiety, having a panic attack. Or vilapa. Vilapa is complaining loudly. Oh, look at my lot. Look at how much I've had to bear. All this is called vilapa. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Chinta. Okay, so which is happening within. This is how to distinguish between the two, you know. So this is titiksha. This is the definition of titiksha. Very complete, very beautiful. But then, am I crazy? Why should I do titiksha when I can change the situation? I already told you this is not for changeable situations. If you can change it, please change it. Starting with the channel on the remote, change it, no problem. These are for situations that cannot be changed, okay? And so, tan titikshasva, all that is left for you to do is just observe them. Well, yeah, but this is not, this takes out all the fun of life. What is life other than some drama? And you can't keep saying Rama, Rama, Rama all the time. Sometimes you have to put a D in front of it and make it into drama. And then you need some drama, you need some ups and downs. If the ups and downs are not there in life, it will just be this flat effect, as good as dead. The person who has breathed the last. You see all the things go flat. All the medical equipment to which the body is connected is all flat lining. So I don't want this kind of a flat lined life. I want to be alive. That doesn't mean you need drama to be alive. In fact, you are free of drama. Free of drama means you are Rama. What is Rama? Ramante yasmin yoginah. That Atma in which is always happy, in which all the yogis revel constantly. Constantly they revel. This is what is you want. You want to be happy always. But you think that if in order to be happy, I have to create some sadness and create some drama, create some anxiety, then only I can appreciate the happiness. This is a very big mistake, a huge mistake. And therefore, this needs to be transformed. Therefore, titikshasva. But why? What will I get out of doing this titiksha? That is going to be talked about in the next verse, which is going to happen when? Next week. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Kirti has a question. What is that? When we say we become the observer, we can observe that everything else is fleeting and one should not identify with it. Then, when we say ultimately the observer is observed, aha, Kirti is on Vedanta 201. Okay, yeah, not Vedanta 101. Okay, what does that mean? Very beautiful question. Yes, what that means is that first, this is Vedanta 101 because there is a hopeless entanglement, like a kitten playing with a ball of wool. After a while, you don't know where the kitten ends and where the wool begins. It's all entangled in it, and the whole ball of wool starts to meow piteously, help me, save me. Okay, and so then this is what life is like. Life is like, because life is like this because one there is confusion between I, atma, and anatma. So first you separate. This is Vedanta 101. That's why it is still chapter 2. Okay. Yeah, it is still Tvam Pada Vichara. You're trying to extricate what am I out of all these things. Then later on, then we say we can't, this is Advaita, non-duality. Later on, what? Whatever you observe is not other than yourself. And then again this this is where the titiksha, you have graduated. Titiksha has become you, and titiksha becomes you, pun intended. And then what happens? Then there is no more need for this titiksha because you have internalized this titiksha, and then you understand that that which is observed is Bhagavan, that who is the observer is also Bhagavan, that which is observed is not outside of Bhagavan. That will come a little later. Good question. Okay. Yeah. All the best. Take care.